Okay, let's really unpack this. Imagine a dusty, sweltering railway carriage in colonial India, the air thick with heat, and the quiet hum of a grand whispered plan.
Yeah, really sets a scene, doesn't it?
It does. We have two hardened adventurers, restless, unbound, hatching an ambition so audacious it sounds less like a scheme and more like, well, the stuff of pure legend.
Exact.
Our deep dive today plunges us into precisely that, a story of monumental aspiration, a secret pact, and a journey into the deepest uncharted corners of the world. We're talking about two men who, against all rational odds, set out to become kings.
And not just, figuratively.
No, not metaphorically, not pulling strings from afar. We mean with real armies, real crowns, and a whole untouched kingdom to boot.
An actual kingdom. It's mind-boggling.
You've sent us a truly fascinating piece today, The Man Who Would Be King by Rudyard Kipling. This is just a thrilling adventure tale. It's a profound window into the human spirit at its most daring, its most resourceful, and frankly, its most tragically delusional.
Tragically is definitely the word there.
Our mission: to extract every important nugget of knowledge and insight from this incredible narrative, focusing on the vivid setting, the sheer significance of their quest, the unimaginable challenges they faced, and the profound, enduring lessons of their extraordinary doomed adventure.
What's truly fascinating here is how this story, even from its very first, brushstrokes, immediately raises fundamental questions about identity, about the nature of power,
Right.
and about the very constructs we place on civilization versus wilderness.
Yeah.
This isn't just a journey across geographical borders into a land where no European has ever set foot. It's a deep psychological expedition into the landscape of extreme human ambition.
Absolutely. A journey inwards as much as outwards.
Precisely. We'll be meticulously exploring the powerful motivations behind such a monumental quest and examining how two individuals with surprisingly humble and, let's be honest, often illicit beginning
Very little. Yeah.
could not only envision themselves but almost become the rulers of an entire unknown nation.
It's incredible.
This particular deep dive is incredibly significant because it touches on universal themes that remain profoundly relevant today. The irresistible allure of the unknown, the inherent dangers of unchecked hubris,
Oh, the hubris is immense.
and how even the most meticulously crafted plan, born of remarkable ingenuity, can unravel with one singular fatal flaw.
Just one mistake.
Ultimately, it's a searing look at what happens when human will, pushed to its absolute limits, collides with stark ancient realities and deeply held cultural beliefs, setting the stage for an adventure that relentlessly pushes the boundaries of human endurance, moral compromise, and ultimately, well, self-destruction.
So our story kicks off in the most unglamorous of settings imaginable. An intermediate-class railway carriage in colonial India.
Doesn't sound very royal.
Not at all. It's here that our narrator, a jaded newspaper editor, first encounters Peachey Carnehan. And from this utterly unlikely, stifling meeting, a truly wild, almost unbelievable seed is planted.
Just like that.
Imagine the discomfort of this journey for a moment. The narrator describes the intermediate class with no cushions, packed with a diverse population of Eurasians, natives, and what he calls loafers.
Right, the loafers. We need to talk about them.
Definitely. It's a far cry from any sort of comfort, especially during a long, hot night journey. He even notes the grim, harsh reality that in hot weather, people are regularly taken out of the carriages dead
That's brutal.
because they're too poor to afford refreshments and are forced to drink contaminated roadside water. It paints a vivid, almost suffocating picture of the mundane, uncomfortable, and often brutal reality from which this extraordinary, almost fantastical tale springs.
It really grounds it, doesn't it? This isn't some fairy tale beginning.
No, it's a world of bare-knuckle survival, far removed from the grand halls of power or the romanticized visions of adventure.
Indeed, and the social context of loaferdom, as Peachey himself describes it, is absolutely crucial here.
Tell us about that.
He speaks of the politics of loaferdom that sees things from the underside where the lath and plaster is not smoothed off.
Right.
This refers to a lower, often marginalized stratum of European society in colonial India. Typically vagabonds, drifters, adventurers living on the fringes.
Sort of outliers.
Exactly. They blurred the rigid lines of colonial society, often engaging in illicit activities, but still clinging to a perceived, if tenuous, social superiority over the local population.
An odd mix.
Their experiences on this underside equip them with a cynical pragmatism, a profound resourcefulness, and a cunning adaptability that would later become absolutely central to their grand adventure.
You can see how those skills would be useful later, yeah?
These are the survival skills honed in a very different but equally challenging environment that lay the foundation for their impossible quest.
Okay, so into this sweaty, confined scene steps Peachey Carnehan described as a big black-browed gentleman in shirt sleeves, immediately identifiable as a wanderer and a vagabond.
But with a certain air about him.
Exactly, but one with a surprisingly educated taste for whiskey. His initial request to the narrator is seemingly simple, to send a telegram from the next station to Ajmer.
Okay, seems straightforward enough.
But what's striking here is his casual, almost entitled approach to this request, immediately indicating his comfort with operating outside normal conventions and his expectation that others will bend to his will.
Peachey's casual bravado and sense of entitlement are immediately, almost jarringly, apparent. He brazenly suggests we might threaten a station master and make him send a wire on tick.
Just like that. Threaten the station master.
Yeah. This speaks volumes about the loyal loafer archetype, this class of European vagabonds who, despite their precarious social standing, still held a perceived, even imagined, superiority over local authorities and felt entitled to demand services.
It's a really weird dynamic.
It's a fascinating, if disturbing, glimpse into the complex social dynamics of colonial India, where European identity, however lowly, still afforded certain presumptions and privileges. This presumption of authority, even when operating illegally, sets a crucial, almost ironic context for their later, far grander ambitions.
So the narrator, despite his initial reluctance and clear disapproval of Peachey's type,
You can imagine him bristling a bit.
oh yeah, he eventually agrees to a task that, at the time, seems utterly trivial, to deliver a verbal message. He has gone south for the week to a red-bearded man, Daniel Dravot, at Maror Junction.
The famous Daniel Dravot.
The sheer unimportance of this request, given the monumental, world-changing implications it would later have for these two men and for the narrator, is almost tragically ironic.
It really is. Hindsight, eh?
Italy.
The narrator's agreement to this seemingly small errand, influenced by Peachey's appeal for the sake of my mother as well as your own, is subtle, but quite powerful, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Why does he agree?
Well, it's an insight into the unexpected code of conduct that sometimes existed, even among these rogue elements. Englishmen weren't typically softened by such appeals, yet he sees fit to agree.
Interesting. Like a shred of shared identity still mattered.
Exactly. It suggests a shared, if often unspoken, and certainly flexible moral compass among Europeans, even those operating far outside conventional society. It's a foundational moment that highlights the unexpected connections formed in extreme circumstances, and it's a moral lesson that, perhaps ironically, resonates throughout their entire journey, even in their ultimate downfall.
Now, Peachey's work, before his grander ambitions, truly reveals the darker, less savory underbelly of colonial India. He openly admits to impersonating correspondents of a newspaper, the backwoodman,
Oh, that's audacious.
the blackmail small native states. This is hardly a noble profession, but it's a stark illustration of how these men survived and thrived in the margins of empire.
Definitely not noble. And this provides absolutely crucial context on the native states, which the narrator himself describes as dark places of the earth full of unimaginable cruelty.
Dark places indeed.
These states, often semi-autonomous, meaning they had some local control but were ultimately under British oversight or authority,
Right.
had a wholesome horror of English newspapers. They desperately feared exposure of their peculiar methods of government, which often included brutal oppression.
So they try to buy off or silence reporters.
Exactly. They would try to choke correspondents with champagne or drive them out of their mind with four-in-hand barouches to suppress any negative reporting. This highlights the deeply corrupt and exploitative nature of some European native interactions, setting a cynical, opportunistic, and profoundly dangerous tone for the era and for the characters we're following.
It sets the stage perfectly for their later disregard for rules.
It defines many of the dangers and moral compromises these men were already accustomed to navigating.
And to really drive home the brutal realities of the world our protagonists inhabit, Peachey shares this truly shocking anecdote about the Dagomba Raja.
Oh, this bit is grim.
He says the Raja filled his father's widow up with red pepper and slippered her to death as she hung from a beam.
Just horrific.
It's a stark, horrifying, and incredibly visceral detail that immediately signals the extreme violence and arbitrary power that these men are not only exposed to, but in their own crude way, participate in or exploit.
This hard life and the great suddenness with which such characters often died underscore the incredibly dangerous stakes these men were already accustomed to.
Right. Death was always close.
Their previous endeavors were not just petty crimes, they were high-stakes survival strategies pushed to their limits in a world where life was cheap and justice often a foreign concept. This early exposure to brutality and ruthless survival tactics directly informs the strategies and resilience they will later employ in their far more ambitious quest for kingship.
Shows the skills they'd acquired, in a way.
Demonstrating the very specific skilled and moral flexibility they'd acquired in such a challenging and unforgiving world.
So the narrator eventually successfully delivers the message to Dravot at Marwar Junction, noting his flaming red beard and great and shining face.
A memorable image.
And Dravot's dismissive reaction. That's just like his impudence. Did you say that I was to give you anything because I won't? Speaks volumes about their audacious, self-serving nature.
Aha, classic.
And their mutual understanding of their illicit business. They're clearly two of a kind, a true partnership in crime, even with that brief, almost casual dismissal.
This brief exchange offers an immediate, almost perfect glimpse into the dynamic between these two adventurers. It shows their brazenness, their self-interest, and a deep, almost conspiratorial understanding of their shared illicit activities.
A kind of honor among thieves.
Perhaps. They operate with a clear, if twisted, code of their own, which binds them together in their adventures and foreshadows their extraordinary loyalty to one another, even in the face of immense danger and ultimate tragedy. It's an unspoken recognition between kindred spirits who live by their own rules.
Interestingly, though, after this encounter, the narrator, despite his cynical nature, makes a surprising decision to actively work against them.
Really? Why sign?
He took some trouble to describe them to people who would be interested in deporting them, and even succeeded in having them headed back from the Degumber borders. He saw them as a disruptive threat, I suppose.
That introduces a fascinating moral ambiguity, almost a test of the narrator's own boundaries.
Yeah, what's his motive there?
The narrator, though jaded and detached, still tries to prevent what he perceives as a dangerous, corrupt scheme. This contrasts sharply with his earlier reluctant agreement to deliver a message for Peachey. It underscores that even within this particular social stratum, there were lines, unspoken loyalties, and laws that even these rogue Europeans operated under.
So he wasn't entirely detached.
Apparently not. It's an unexpected turn in the narrative, a minor but pivotal act of intervention. However, little did our narrator know that preventing their work in one arena would only pave the way for an even grander, more insane ambition to take root.
Yeah, he kind of pushed them towards Kafiristan in a weird way.
Exactly. One that would redefine their lives and his own understanding of the world. So 2 years later, amidst the stifling, oppressive heat of a newspaper office in India.
The heat again. It's always there.
Always. Our narrator is confronted again by Peachey and Dravot, but this time their ambitions have catastrophically escalated beyond simple blackmail.
Right, they've leveled up.
Which raises an important question for us. What fundamental drives compel individuals to seek absolute power in the most remote corners of the earth? And how do men, habituated to petty schemes, evolve into dreamers of empire?
That's the core of it, isn't it?
Their evolution from loafers to would-be kings is one of the most significant and psychologically compelling aspects of their journey, a profound transformation that began with a shift in scale, not necessarily in ethics.
Okay, so the re-encounter itself takes place in an almost suffocating atmosphere, one that perfectly heightens the sheer audacity of their return. The narrator describes a pitchy black night as stifling as a June night, with the red-hot wind booming among the tinder-dry trees.
You can almost feel it.
Yeah, a spot of almost boiling water falls on the dust of the press room. This oppressive, almost claustrophobic setting provides a stark, almost theatrical contrast to the cool audacity of the men who burst into this stifling space as if they own it.
Completely unfazed. Their physical presence, even in this description, is painted as larger than life. Dravot's beard seemed to fill half the room and Carnehan's shoulders the other half.
They're imposing figures.
It emphasizes their sheer, imposing force of personality and the commanding aura they project, which, as we'll see, becomes absolutely instrumental in their later adventures. They aren't just men, they are forces of nature, almost mythic figures, even before they become kings.
And when they confront the narrator, their demands are surprisingly unusual, not for money, which you might expect.
Yeah, you'd think they'd want cash.
No, but for half an hour's talk, cool and comfortable, some drink, and most importantly, advice.
Advice. from the man who tried to get them deported.
Exactly. They immediately confront the narrator about his bad turn about Digumber state, showing they held no grudges, merely a pragmatic understanding of the world and a directness that cuts through any pretense.
Fascinating. Water under the bridge, apparently. Their initial presentation of themselves is a remarkable, almost comically diverse laundry list of professions. Soldier, sailor, compositor, photographer, proofreader, street preacher, and correspondents of the backwoodsmen.
They've done it all, seemingly.
This incredibly diverse background demonstrates their incredible adaptability, their jack-of-all-trades resourcefulness, and their ability to blend into almost any situation, a key skill for their ultimate impossible adventure.
Right, they know how to land on their feet.
It shows a lifetime of navigating various roles and challenges, building a foundation of resilience and cunning that would be absolutely essential in their extreme undertaking, a kind of street smarts elevated to an art form.
And then, with almost casual confidence, they reveal their extraordinary plan. We are going away to be kings.
Just like that. Bang!
They declare, with an almost imperial flourish, that India isn't big enough for such as us.
Wow. The sheer nerve.
It's a statement of immense self-belief, a grand, almost delusional leap from their previous lives of petty crime to the highest possible aspiration.
Crucially, they've drawn up what they call a contract, a solemn, almost religiously binding agreement.
The famous contract.
Exactly. To abstain from liquor and woman black, white, or brown to avoid getting mired up.
Very specific prohibitions.
This isn't just a whim. It reveals a calculated attempt to mitigate their known weaknesses, a rare, almost shocking moment of self-awareness and strategic planning.
They knew it tripped them up before.
It's their grand strategy to maintain absolute focus and control, a self-imposed law meant to protect their ambition, and it speaks volumes about their understanding of the emotional and psychological lessons learned, perhaps painfully, from their past experiences. You have to wonder, though, how long did they really think that would last before human nature kicked in?
Yeah. Seems like a ticking clock. The narrator, understandably, tries to dismiss their plan as folly, suggesting they've been tramping in the sun too long, or are simply drunk.
A reasonable assumption, frankly.
But they quickly assure him, with firm resolve, neither drunk nor sunstruck. We have slept over the notion half a year.
Half a year. So this wasn't just cooked up overnight.
No, this indicates not a fleeting fancy, but a deep, long-standing commitment to their plan, demonstrating a powerful and unwavering resolve that is itself almost as incredible as the plan itself.
They've chosen Kafiristan, described as the top right-hand corner of Afghanistan, not more than 300 miles from Peshawar.
Remote doesn't even begin to cover it.
This choice of an unknown, remote, and essentially blank space on the map where no one has gone there speaks to the profound allure of terra incognita for colonial adventurers. It's an unclaimed territory, ripe for their impossible ambition, making the quest incredibly significant from a geographical and exploratory perspective.
Literally off the map. A place where they could write their own history.
Precise.
Their intelligence about the Kafirs is, to put it mildly, rather sparse, and based on colonial-era hearsay.
What did they think they knew?
Well, 32 heathen idols there. It's a mountainous country. The women of those parts are very beautiful, though strictly forbidden by their contract.
Uh-oh. Foreshadowing.
And simply, they fight. These meager, almost stereotypical details are the raw materials from which they plan to forge an empire.
Right, not exactly a detailed cultural assessment. This leads to their core strategic insight, a brutally pragmatic observation. In any place where they fight, a man who knows how to drill men can always be a king.
The military angle. That's their ace.
It simplifies their approach and shrewdly plays to their military background and experience. It reflects a colonial mindset of imposing order through superior force and organization, a strategy designed to exploit existing societal dynamics, a key skill for their survival and ascent.
But is it enough?
Well, the narrator, a man who knows this region, is quick to warn them. He uses the harsh terminology common to colonial perspectives of the era, describing the people as utter brutes and the terrain as one mass of mountains and peaks and glaciers.
So huge obstacles.
This immediately sets the monumental, almost insurmountable obstacles they face, underscoring the extreme dangers of their chosen path.
Okay, so their audacious initial strategy is laid out. We shall go to those parts and say to any king we find, "Do you want to vanquish your foes?" And we will show him how to drill men.
Offer their services as mercenaries, basically.
Then we will subvert that king and seize his throne and establish a dynasty. Simple as that.
Simple. It's a plan born of immense confidence, but also, frankly, a dangerous naivete about the complexities of empire building. What makes them think this wildly ambitious, almost cartoonish plan will actually work against such formidable odds?
That's the million-dollar question.
That's the crucial question, isn't it? Because the narrator, a man who knows this region, immediately calls them out on it, warning, "You'll be cut to pieces before you're 50 miles across the border."
He doesn't mince words.
He knows the Kafirs as utter brutes and the terrain as one mass of mountains and peaks and glaciers. So their confidence seems to rest entirely on their military background and the sheer force of their will, rather than any real understanding of the deeply complex political and geographical realities they're walking into.
It highlights their hubris, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But also their almost childlike belief in their own exceptionalism, that they are different, that they will succeed where others have failed.
Their research, as they conducted in the narrator's office, is a study in selective information gathering, a perfect example of focusing on what you want to hear.
Show me the evidence that supports my crazy plan.
Pretty much. They pore over the big 32 miles to the inch map of India and two smaller frontier maps, then delve into volume INF-CAN of the Encyclopedia Britannica, Wood on the sources of the Oxus, and Rafferty.
Standard stuff for the time, I suppose.
But they cherry-pick what suits their narrative, like the notion that Kafirs think they're related to us English, and brazenly dismiss inconvenient facts or dissenting opinions, shouting, "Blow baloo."
Ha ha. Baloo. This isn't just a quirky detail. It's a classic example of confirmation bias in action.
Totally.
When stakes are high and ambition is soaring, we all tend to cherry-pick data that supports what we want to believe, often ignoring the inconvenient truths that challenge our preconceived notions. It's a powerful psychological lesson. Unchecked ambition can dangerously blind us to reality, allowing us to construct a narrative that justifies our desires, regardless of the evidence.
They're literally building their kingdom on a foundation of self-serving research.
Exactly.
Dravot confidently maps out their initial route, stating, "Up to Jagdalek, Peachey and me know the road. We was there with Robert's army."
Ah, so there is some practical experience there.
It grounds their otherwise fantastical ambition in some limited prior military experience, suggesting they're not entirely without a practical foundation for their grand plans, at least for the initial leg of the journey.
Their strategy is also explicitly based on the idea of internal conflict. The more tribes, the more they'll fight, and the better for us.
Divide and conquer. Classic imperial tactic.
It reveals their cynical, almost Machiavellian intent to exploit existing divisions among the indigenous populations, a classic imperial strategy that leverages internal instability for external gain. It's a ruthless yet often effective survival technique for establishing power in a fractured region, highlighting their pragmatic, if morally dubious, approach.
So they're ready.
Armed with a strict contract, a meticulously studied, selectively interpreted map, and an unshakable belief in their own destiny, they set off. But how exactly do two gentlemen at large become kings, or even survive, in a land where no Englishman has ever set foot? This marks the true beginning of their extraordinary and terrifying adventure.
So the contract is sealed, the map is marked, and they're off. But how exactly do two self-proclaimed gentlemen at large actually get to Kafiristan, let alone begin the process of becoming kings?
Yeah, the logistics seem challenging.
Right. Well, this next phase of their journey, the arduous trek into the unknown, is a masterclass in sheer audacity and improvisation, where every trick they picked up in Loaferdom gets put to the ultimate test.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
This is where their personal stories truly begin to intertwine with the burgeoning legend of the kings as they shed their old identities and embrace new ones, forging a path through sheer will and cunning.
So, first step, get there. How?
Their disguise is both clever and incredibly theatrical. Dravot poses as a mad priest, attired in fragments of ribbons and rags, gravely twisting a child's paper whirligig.
A whirligig, seriously.
Seriously. While Carnehan acts as his humble servant, bent under the load of a crate of mud toys, they appear in the Sarai, a vibrant think of humanity, where, as the narrator observes, all the nationalities of Central Asia may be found.
Ah, blending into the chaos. Smart.
It's the perfect backdrop for their theatrical entry, hiding their true, dangerous intentions in plain sight within the chaos of the bazaar.
The effectiveness of this disguise in the cultural context is absolutely brilliant. And Uzbeg, observing them, explains a prevailing local belief. The witless are under the protection of God.
Ah, so madness is a shield.
Exactly. This deep-seated superstitious belief grants them a remarkable degree of immunity and facilitates their journey through incredibly dangerous territory, proving to be a key survival technique that relies entirely on local customs and beliefs. Their madness becomes their impenetrable shield,
Allowing them to pass through unmolested. That's genius in a way.
demonstrating their acute ability to adapt to and exploit their surroundings.
And what's beneath the whirligigs and mud dolls hidden from curious eyes?
Let me guess. Not mud doll.
Not quite. A shocking arsenal. 20 of them. Martini rifles and ammunition to correspond.
20 Martini rifles, that's serious firepower for that region.
The narrator's warning is clear, almost a premonition of the power these weapons represent. Heaven help you if you are caught with those things. A Martini is worth her weight in silver among the Pathans. This hidden cargo isn't just contraband, it's their real capital.
Their investment. This act of smuggling represents their true capital, not money, but advanced weaponry, a technological leap in that remote region. It's a high-stakes, risk-reward calculation, leveraging a powerful technological advantage in a land where such weapons are rare and highly prized.
It's their edge.
This strategic choice is a testament to their resourcefulness and willingness to embrace extreme measures, a critical skill that would propel them forward in their adventure. The narrator also gives Dravot a small charm compass as a memento.
A little human touch.
Yeah, a seemingly minor gesture that contrasts sharply with the immense stakes. A poignant human touch in a story of grand, almost inhuman ambition. And Dravot's farewell, "It's the last time we'll shake hands with an Englishman these many days," profoundly underscores their self-imposed isolation and commitment to a new, self-created identity,
Cutting ties.
highlighting the emotional toll of their extreme endeavor even before it truly begins.
Okay, so the journey beyond Peshawar, hitching onto a caravan to Jagdalak, is their first major leg. Crucially, they decide to turn off before Jagdalak because the roads was good.
Famous last words?
Right. Although they quickly discover they weren't good enough for their camels. This highlights their remarkable flexibility and willingness to deviate from their initial plan, constantly adapting as the unforgiving terrain demands.
Essential survival skill out there. A significant cultural and personal shift occurs as they consciously shed their old identities. Dravot, declaring they would be heathen because the Kafirs didn't allow Mohammedans to talk to them, orders them to take off all their clothes.
Wow, full commitment.
They shave their heads into intricate patterns, even burn half of Dravot's distinctive beard, and wear outrageous things. This is a deliberate and dramatic shedding of their previous identities for new ones, an extreme psychological transformation essential for their perceived integration into a new, uncharted world.
Becoming Kafir, or their idea of it.
It's a symbolic act of severing ties with their past, embracing the wilderness both physically and psychologically.
The harsh geographical realities soon set in, brutal and unforgiving. Carnehan vividly recounts traversing most mountainous country, with tall and black mountains where camels couldn't go along anymore.
So the camels are useless now.
They're forced to make a grim decision, kill their camels for lack of use or food, a brutal necessity that speaks to the unforgiving nature of the landscape and the constant life or death choices they face.
Grim but practical, I suppose. Their solution to acquiring mules is starkly brutal, a chilling escalation of their moral compromise.
How do they get mules?
Dravot, without a moment of hesitation, breaks a man's neck over his knee for simply saying, "If you are rich enough to buy, you are rich enough to rob."
Good grief, just snaps his neck.
Just like that. This act isn't just starkly brutal, it's a chilling escalation of their moral compromise. From petty blackmail and calculated deception, they've now crossed into outright murder.
That's a huge line crossed.
It truly showcases how quickly the law of the jungle takes hold in these extreme environments, and how their ambition is now demanding a price far beyond mere effort. It's a stark reminder that the journey to kingship for these men meant shedding not just their external identities, but their very humanity.
Embracing a ruthless pragmatism.
Valued expediency over any moral code. How does that level of violence, that shedding of their past selves, fundamentally reshape them for the challenges ahead, do you think?
It must harden them incredibly, but maybe also damage them. Carnehan vividly recalls the extreme conditions. Bitter, cold, mountainous parts, and never a road broader than the back of your hand.
Sounds horrific.
Yet Dravot, despite the constant danger of tremendous avalanches thundering down, sings and whistles, painting him as fearlessly or perhaps recklessly charismatic.
Keeping spirits up or just mad?
Maybe both. He's capable of maintaining morale and his own audacious spirit even in the direst of circumstances, a true leader of men, even if those men are just himself and Peachey.
This early stage of their journey vividly highlights their immense physical prowess, their unwavering resourcefulness, and their increasingly flexible moral compass skills, absolutely essential for survival in this extreme environment.
But the moral flexibility is becoming, well, alarming.
It also powerfully foreshadows deeper ethical compromises and the dangers of unchecked power, an important emotional and psychological lesson about the escalating cost of their ambition. They've shed their old identities, discarded their scruples, and armed themselves with superior firepower.
Ready for the main event.
Now, having paid a heavy personal and moral price, they are ready to meet the people they intend to rule, moving into the next profound stage of their incredible journey. The ascent to kingship itself.
Okay, the ascent. This is where it gets almost unbelievable.
This is where the adventure takes a truly astonishing and almost miraculous turn. Dravot and Carnehan don't just conquer, they meticulously craft an elaborate illusion of divinity, leveraging both their military superiority and an entirely unexpected cultural resonance.
So skill or luck?
That's the question, isn't it? This raises an important question for us. How much of their astonishing success was due to their innate skill, their cunning, and their sheer force of will? And how much was pure, unbelievable, almost divine luck? Their ascent to kingship is a testament to their audacious strategies and an almost miraculous series of events.
So their first encounter with the Kafirs is decisive and immediately establishes their advantage. They find two groups fighting fiercely with bows and arrows.
Pretty primitive weaponry compared to what they're carrying.
Exactly. Dravot's intervention is swift and impactful. He begins unpacking the guns, fires 2 rifles, and with incredible precision, drops a man at 200 yards.
Boom. Instant shock and awe.
This single act immediately establishes their technological superiority, demonstrating a strategy of overwhelming, almost magical force.
Their strategy here is incredibly shrewd. First intimidate, then befriend. They fire over the Kafirs' heads, then physically kick them into submission.
Bit rough.
Only to then shake hands and distribute their boxes to carry, turning them into porters. This demonstrates a clever understanding of local power dynamics and a calculated display of strength mixed with magnanimity,
Ensuring their immediate survival and laying the groundwork for future control.
It's a masterclass in psychological manipulation.
Dravot's entrance into the first village is nothing short of masterful theater. He places a rifle at the feet of the idle Imbra, then performs a series of gestures, rubbing his nose respectfully with its nose, patting its head, and saluting it.
Laying the part.
He then pronounces, with supreme confidence, "That's all right, I'm in the know too, and all these old Jim Jams are my friends." His subsequent refusal of food from lesser men, accepting it only from the old priests and the boss of the village, further reinforces his perceived authority.
So they think he's one of them. Or more.
The Kafirs believe they quite literally tumbled from the skies, descending as gods or divine beings.
Wow, that's quite a leap. This act is brilliant in its simplicity and profound effectiveness. It doesn't dismiss existing religious structures. Instead, it subtly yet powerfully asserts control over them by appearing to be one of them, or even above them.
Someone with intimate knowledge of their deities.
Exactly. This clever integration, rather than outright destruction of local beliefs, is a key strategy that lends instant, unquestionable legitimacy to their claims. It's a remarkable cultural adaptation that grants them immense power, effectively turning ancient superstition into a foundation for their new rule.
Dravot's coronation is immediate, almost instantaneous. A gold crown is placed upon his head, and he sits daily by Imbra, receiving worship.
He's done it. He's a king. Or a god king.
This isn't just a political act. It is the tangible symbol of their new divine status, the physical manifestation of their impossible dream achieved, placing them at the very pinnacle of Kafir society.
Their initial governing strategies are remarkably pragmatic and effective for maintaining power. They quickly begin to settle disputes, such as the case of an abducted woman, carefully count the dead after battles, and even pour milk as a ritual.
Bringing order, basically.
Right. They draw territorial lines with a spear and sod and promote agriculture, telling the people to go and dig the land and be fruitful and multiply. These actions introduce order, stability, and directly benefit the communities, quickly reinforcing their legitimacy as benevolent rulers, not just conquerors.
Makes sense. Give people something tangible.
It's a classic strategy of providing immediate, tangible benefits to solidify new authority.
They quickly begin teaching the Kafirs their language and establishing a crude but effective form of justice. Dravot commands the priests of each village up to the idol and says he must sit there and judge the people, and if anything goes wrong, he is to be shot.
Whoa, justice with a threat.
This is a clear, brutal imposition of their law, backed by the unambiguous threat of force, but cloaked in religious authority.
This system ingeniously blends existing religious authority with their military power, creating a new hybrid system of governance that the Kafirs understand and, crucially, respect.
Fear and reverence.
It's a critical skill in their empire building, showing their ability to adapt and manipulate local structures for their own benefit, creating a framework of fear and reverence.
The military training they implement is remarkably rapid and efficient. Dravot picks out 20 good men and shows them how to click off a rifle and form fours and advance in line.
Building their own army now.
Carnehan notes the Kafirs' astonishingly quick learning, a testament to their innate discipline and the effectiveness of the training, and also maybe their desire to align with these powerful, seemingly divine outsiders.
There's an incredibly effective division of labor that contributes significantly to their success. Dravot focuses on overall strategy, governance, and maintaining the illusion of divinity.
The big picture guy.
Well, Carnehan acts as commander-in-chief, focusing on the practicalities, building bridges, drilling the army, and exploring new territories.
Boots on the ground.
This coordinated, almost symbiotic effort maximizes their limited resources and rapidly expands their influence, demonstrating the power of clear roles and a shared vision, however delusional that vision may be.
Carnehan's methods of expanding the kingdom are equally striking in their blend of ritual and ruthlessness. He describes blooding him with a kid before letting him into the new kingdom.
Ritual sacrifice, yikes.
A powerful, visceral ritual act designed not just to impress, but to cement loyalty through shared experience and a sense of belonging to something fearsome. And when faced with opposing chiefs, he doesn't just overpower them, he outmaneuvers them.
Oh, so.
Imagine wounding a chief with a rifle from half a mile away, a seemingly impossible feat that immediately establishes an almost supernatural aura of power.
Like magic to them.
Then he offers not just surrender, but a pragmatic alliance, helping them fight their enemies. It's a brilliant, if brutal, strategy of divide and conquer, turning foes into vassals and cementing their rule not just through force, but through a calculated display of superior strategy and occasional perceived benevolence.
Very clever. A fascinating detail that speaks to their incredible adaptability is the string talk letter they use to communicate across vast distances.
String talk? What's that?
A method they learned, of all places, from a blind beggar in Punjab, knots in string conveying messages.
Incredible. Picking up skills everywhere.
This highlights the truly unconventional experiences these adventurers draw upon, demonstrating their capacity to assimilate and utilize diverse, almost forgotten knowledge to overcome challenges, further reinforcing their image as extraordinary, almost preternatural individuals.
Dravot eventually returns from an expedition with his growing army and another gold crown, this time to present to Peachey.
Sharing the spoils.
He declares, with mounting grandiosity, "I am the son of Alexander by Queen Semiramis, and you're my younger brother and a god too."
Son of Alexander. Wow, he's really leaning into the mythology.
He also boasts of discovering rich resources. Gold I've seen, and turquoise I've kicked out of the cliffs, and there's garnets in the sands of the river. Their empire is becoming materially rich, seemingly blessed.
The Son of Alexander claim is a masterstroke of historical appropriation and self-mythologizing. It cleverly connects their rule to the powerful, enduring legacy of Alexander the Great, which has a deep, almost sacred resonance within the region's cultural memory.
Giving them historical legitimacy.
Exactly. This gives their claim an almost divine and historical legitimacy, making it not just a political act, but a fulfillment of ancient prophecy in the eyes of the Kafirs. This cultural context is vital to understanding their rapid, almost unquestioned ascent to power.
Then comes the truly astonishing Masonic miracle, an unexpected twist of fate that catapults their divine status even higher.
Okay, I've heard about this bit. It's wild.
They discover Billy Fish, chief of Boschkai, knows Masonic grips, specifically the fellow craft grip. Carnehan explains a fellow craft he is, and immediately recognizes this as the key of the whole show.
A Mason out there. How?
It's never fully explained, but it's the crucial turning point. This wasn't just a handshake, it was the key to the whole show for them, a profound and unexpected connection.
This unexpected connection is incredibly significant, almost unbelievable. The Kafirs, it turns out, had the master's mark cut into the stone of Imbra's temple, a missing mark that no one could understand the why of.
So the Masons were there before. Or is it coincidence?
The story leaves it ambiguous, but for Dravot and Carnehan and the Kafirs, it's perceived as divine validation, a sign that these men are not just kings, but perhaps the lost progenitors of their sacred traditions, the bearers of ancient, forgotten knowledge.
Talk about luck.
It's a profound psychological and moral lesson in how belief systems can be co-opted and manipulated for power, giving them an instant, unassailable, and sacred authority.
Dravot, a master of improvisation, immediately seizes the moment, swiftly declaring, "A god and a grandmaster of the craft am I, and a lodge in the third degree I will open."
Of course he does. Never misses an opportunity.
He quickly forms a lodge in Imber's temple, using crude aprons made by women and large stones for chairs, creating a new, yet ancient-feeling sacred space that legitimizes his claims.
This Masonic connection provides an instant, pre-existing structure for their governance. It allows them to bypass traditional conquest and integrate into the local social fabric through a shared sacred order.
It gives their rule an unquestionable authority in the eyes of the Kafirs.
Who now believe they are witnessing the return of forgotten knowledge and power. It's a psychological and moral lesson in how belief systems can be co-opted and manipulated to establish complete, almost absolute control.
The amazing miracle continues to unfold as the priests move through the first 2 degrees, almost without telling, as if memory was coming back to them.
Like it was innate knowledge being reawakened.
Billy Fish is even raised to a degree, though Carnehan notes, not in any way according to ritual. The improvised nature barely matters. The perception of authenticity is everything.
This event cements their divine authority, absolutely. The Kafirs believe they are the lost progenitors of their secret traditions, making their rule not just legitimate but entirely unquestionable.
It's a testament to the power of shared symbols and beliefs.
And a profound example of how a narrative can be crafted and amplified to establish total, almost spiritual control, effectively making them gods among men.
Dravot's vision quickly grows into a truly grand plan for an empire, expanding far beyond Kafiristan. He aims to stop inter-village fighting, form a robust frontier guard, drill 500 men,
Building a proper state now?
and acquire more than 100 handmade martinis and 100 good Kohat Jezels through Carnehan's bribery and trade in Gorband. He's building a military machine.
Dravot's pronouncements become increasingly megalomaniacal. He declares, "I'll make an empire. These men aren't brief paws, they're English. They're the lost tribes. 2 million people, 250,000 fighting men, and all English."
Lost tribes. English. Where did that come from?
It shows the full, frightening extent of his delusion and how he saw the Kafirs through a distorted imperial lens, even as he claimed them as his own. He even envisions cutting in on Russia's right flank when she tries for India.
Grand geopolitical strategy now.
He still operates within a colonial framework, but one where he is the supreme power. It's an important insight into the psychological impact of unchecked power and the desire for recognition on a global scale.
His dream culminates in treating with the viceroy on equal terms, requesting 12 picked English deputies to help administer his new nation.
Bringing in the Brits to help run his Kafir English empire.
Seeking a dispensation from the Grand Lodge for his Kafir Masonic brethren, and eventually, almost inconceivably, handing the crown to Queen Victoria on my knees, hoping to be knighted for his efforts.
Wow. From loafer to knight of the realm via Kafiristan, the ambition is boundless.
Almost comically so, showing a profound disconnect from reality.
This grand vision of empire, almost within their grasp, reveals a profound psychological lesson. The truly corrupting influence of absolute power. It's a classic arc where the original, somewhat pragmatic ambition morphs into unchecked megalomania. But as we often see in these tales of extraordinary ambition, the seeds of their destruction aren't planted by some external enemy or unforeseen natural disaster. No, they're sown by a single, fatal flaw right from within their own ranks, marking the dramatic and ultimately tragic next stage of their journey.
Okay, the fall. They had armies, they had gold, they had a crown, and they even had the blessing of an ancient Masonic brotherhood. They had conquered the impossible, truly becoming gods among men.
They were at the absolute pinnacle.
But the contract they swore by, that foundational agreement, had 2 crucial clauses. No liquor and no women. One was broken.
Ah, the contract. It comes back to haunt them.
And with it, the entire kingdom came tumbling down. This is where everything they've built, all that meticulous planning, truly begins to unravel in one catastrophic, almost predictable moment.
This is the ultimate turning point, a moral lesson in the making about the fragility of self-imposed discipline. Dravot interprets the contract as having a time limit, justifying his desires now that power is achieved, believing he can simply rewrite the rules.
We're kings now. The rules don't apply.
Pretty much. Carnehan's strong opposition. For Gord's sake, leave the women alone. Remember, the contract highlights the clash of their core principles and foreshadows the impending disaster. Carnehan even recalls his own disastrous experience with a Bengali woman, underscoring the dangers of such entanglements.
A bitter lesson from his past, now ignored by his king. Dravot's desire for a queen, for an heir, becomes a fatal obsession that overrides all reason.
Why does he need a queen so badly now?
He dismisses Carnehan's warnings, arguing for a queen to breed a king's son for the king. A queen out of the strongest tribe, that'll make them your blood brothers.
So it's strategic in his mind, cementing alliances.
This reveals a strategic, yet profoundly culturally insensitive, motivation for breaking their sacred oath, and ultimately it becomes his own undoing. He seeks to legitimize his rule through a mortal bond, paradoxically shattering his divine one.
This is a crucial moral lesson, the ultimate lesson in self-sabotage. They violated their own foundational law. It's a classic narrative arc illustrating how easily hubris and personal desire can completely override rational judgment and a sworn oath, bringing down an entire carefully constructed reality from within.
The human flaw.
The inability to resist temptation that destroys the seemingly indestructible, a universal psychological truth that resonates far beyond Kafiristan.
The Kafir Council's silence when Dravot proposes marriage is chilling, pregnant with unspoken meaning.
You can imagine the awkwardness in that room.
Billy Fish's explanation is direct and chillingly clear. How can daughters of men marry gods or devils? It's not proper.
There's the rub. Gods can't marry mortals.
This reveals the deep-seated cultural belief that underpins their perceived divinity and, crucially, its inherent limitations. Their human desire for a queen clashes violently with their divine status, setting up an insurmountable conflict.
This is the core, unresolvable conflict. Their perceived divinity, born of a misunderstanding, the Masonic mark, also imposes strictures they failed to comprehend. They're not merely kings, but gods, and gods in Kafir belief cannot marry mortal women without severe, unimaginable consequences.
They didn't understand the rules of the game they were playing.
This highlights the precariousness of their entire fabricated identity and their profound lack of true cultural understanding, despite their immersion and success. It's a moment where their inability to fully grasp the nuances of Kafir belief systems becomes their ultimate downfall.
The preparations for the marriage are frantic and ominous, steeped in tragic misunderstanding. In a dark temple, a young girl is crying fit to die, believing she's going to her death, utterly terrified.
Oh, she thinks it's a sacrifice.
Dravot, tragically oblivious to her terror, merely threatens the priest to hearten her very tender. It's a scene steeped in tragic misunderstanding, a horrifying clash of intentions and beliefs that spells doom.
This scene starkly underscores the unbridgeable cultural chasm. What Dravot sees as a joyous royal marriage, the Kafirs interpret as a ritual sacrifice, reinforcing the devil aspect of their gods.
That's horrifying.
It's a moment where their lack of genuine cultural empathy, their failure to truly understand the people they rule, becomes their fatal flaw, an unexpected event that shatters their carefully crafted illusion in the most visceral way possible.
Carnehan senses the impending doom, his seasoned loafer instincts screaming at him. He notices priests and chiefs whispering, looking at him with suspicion and cold judgment.
He knows trouble when he sees it.
Billy Fish, ever pragmatic and loyal, offers a dire warning. If you can make the king drop all this nonsense about marriage, you'll be doing him and me and yourself a great service.
Even Billy Fish tries to stop it.
Even their most loyal commander, the man who helped them build everything, sees the danger and attempts a last-ditch intervention.
Billy Fish's loyalty is profoundly tested, but ultimately he tries to save them, showing a complex character who serves both his own people and the men he believes are gods, torn between two worlds. His poignant statement, "King, be you man or god or devil, I'll stick by you today," highlights the powerful bonds forged in their extreme adventure.
I'll stick by you today. Powerful words.
A testament to shared hardship and ambition, even as their empire dramatically crumbles around them.
The climax arrives with devastating speed and brutality. Dravot, oblivious to the rising tensions, still swinging his arms and stamping his feet and looking more pleased than Punch, confronts the crowd. The girl, white as death, in an act of sheer terror and desperation,
What does she do?
bites him on the neck.
She bites him.
Yes.
The blood from that bite, the literal breaking of Dravot's skin, is the ultimate undoing. Neither god nor devil, but a man. They howl in unison, their shouts echoing the shattering of an illusion.
The magic is broken. He bleeds.
This one physical act shatters the entire carefully constructed illusion of divinity, the meticulously built reality they had created. It's a powerful and immediate consequence of breaking cultural taboos, a sudden, brutal, and completely unexpected event that exposes their human frailty and brings down their entire empire.
Chaos erupts with terrifying speed and violence. The valley was full of shouting, howling creatures. The army begins firing, and priests roll massive stones down upon them from the mountainsides.
Utter pandemonium.
Carnehan fires his martini, but it's utterly useless against the overwhelming tide of mutiny. Their kingdom, built on a lie and an illusion, vanishes in an instant, swallowed by the very people who had once worshipped them.
This is the violent, swift collapse of their empire, emphasizing how incredibly fragile their power was, based entirely on a fabricated identity and a carefully maintained illusion. The lack of true cultural understanding, despite their deep immersion, proves absolutely fatal.
A stark lesson.
It provides a stark, emotional, and psychological lesson about the fragility of power built on deceit and the irreversible consequences of cultural insensitivity. Their kingdom, built on ambition and an unexpected twist of fate, vanished in an instant of blood. But the consequences of their failed ambition were far from over, leading to a grim, unforgettable end.
Which is perhaps the most impactful part of the story.
The swiftness of their downfall is chilling, almost instantaneous. From crowned kings to hunted men, the lessons here are profoundly resonant, touching upon the psychological toll of extreme experiences and the brutal reality of a world that quickly forgets the temporary ruler, especially one whose divinity proves to be a lie.
And the individual impact is devastating.
What's truly fascinating here is the devastating individual impact of this collapse on both men, highlighting the final emotional and psychological lessons of their adventure and the different ways human minds break.
The desperate retreat down the valley is a harrowing, almost surreal scene, with Dravot swearing horrible and crying out he was a king, unable to process the collapse of his empire.
This whole world just imploded.
Only a handful of men, including Dan, Billy Fish, and Carnehan, survived the initial onslaught, fleeing for their lives from the very people who once worshipped them as gods.
Dravot's mental decline is immediate and tragically swift. He began to go mad in his head from that hour, completely unable to reconcile the reality of his fall with his grand illusions.
He just snaps.
His refusal to accept responsibility, blaming Carnehan, "It's your fault, you damned engine-driving, plate-laying, missionaries pass-hunting hound," reveals the complete shattering of his ego and the immense psychological toll of his failed empire.
Blaming his loyal friend, that's harsh.
It's a classic example of a mind breaking under the weight of unbearable reality.
Yet, even amidst this bitter blame and mental disintegration, Carnehan's loyalty remains heartbreakingly steadfast, a testament to their deep bond. "I'm sorry, Dan. I'm with you here," he replies.
Incredible loyalty.
His compassion unwavering despite the immense suffering and the crushing injustice of Dravot's accusations. It's a moment of profound, almost tragic devotion.
This moment powerfully highlights the emotional and psychological toll of their extreme experience, but also the enduring, almost sacred power of companionship forged in shared adversity. Dravot's mind breaks under the weight of his failed empire and shattered ego, while Carnehan, despite his suffering and the betrayal, remains tragically devoted.
A profound lesson in human connection.
Showing that some bonds transcend even the lust for power.
Billy Fish, ever pragmatic, offers a grim prophecy that seals their fate. The priests will have sent runners to the villages to say that you are only men.
That word is out. They're exposed.
Soon after, they are ambushed on a snow-covered mountain by an overwhelming army, an army chillingly equipped with their own rifles, the very weapons they had supplied to build their empire. The irony is stark and brutal.
Hoist by their own petard. The ironic use of their own supplied weapons against them underscores the complete reversal of their fortunes. It's a powerful symbol of their failed mission and the ultimate consequence of their unchecked ambition.
Highlighting the unexpected events that sealed their fate.
Their tools of conquest literally become the instruments of their destruction, a poetic and devastating conclusion.
In a last desperate moment of lucidity and profound sacrifice, Dravot, now shot in the leg, tells Billy Fish and Carnehan to escape. "It's me that did it, me the king," he cries.
He finally takes responsibility.
Finally taking responsibility for his disastrous choices, his hubris, and his ultimate undoing. It's a moment of raw, painful honesty.
This is a moment of profound, albeit terribly late, self-awareness and atonement. Dravot accepts his responsibility, demonstrating a final twisted nobility in his downfall. This raises an important question for us. Was this a moment of redemption, a last flicker of his true character, or merely the acceptance of an inevitable self-made fate?
Hard to say. It adds a complex, tragic layer to his character.
Showing the very human struggle for accountability.
Billy Fish's loyalty, a quiet and profound devotion, remains unwavering, even at this dire point. "I'm a chief. I stay with you. My men can go," he declares.
He chooses to stay. Incredible.
Choosing to stand with the men he had served, the gods he had believed in, sealing his own tragic fate alongside theirs. It's a testament to the bonds forged in extraordinary circumstances.
Billy Fish stands with them, sealing his fate. A testament to his bond with the kings despite their proven human frailty. His quick, savage death, "they cut his throat like a pig," underscores the harsh, unforgiving reality of their situation.
Brutal.
And the complete, brutal loss of their previous power and mystique. It is a stark, brutal end to his dedicated service, a casualty of a foreign ambition.
The execution of Daniel Dravot is an unforgettable, truly chilling scene. He's marched a mile across the snow to a rope bridge suspended precariously over a deep ravine.
The rope bridge, iconic image.
His final words to Carnehan are heartbreaking, a plea for absolution. "I've brought you to this, Peachey. Say you forgive me."
Does he?
And Carnehan, through his tears and anguish, replies, "Fully and freely do I forgive you, Dan."
Wow. Even after everything. This exchange on the bridge is deeply moving. A raw, human moment amidst the savagery. It provides a moral lesson on forgiveness, on the profound and unbreakable bonds forged in extreme circumstances, even as death approaches.
It adds a layer of raw, brutal humanity to their otherwise ruthless adventure.
Showing the depth of their companionship, an emotional lesson forged in shared ordeal and ultimate failure.
Dravot's defiant last act is chilling and unforgettable. "Cut, you beggars!" he shouts as he stands in the middle of the dizzy, dancing ropes, falling 20,000 miles with his gold crown still defiantly upon his head.
Going out like a king in his own mind.
It's a final, dramatic statement of King, even as his kingdom plunges into the abyss with him.
The crown, a tangible symbol of his ambition and temporary kingship, accompanies him to his watery grave, a poignant image of his ultimate failure and the unbearable weight of his impossible dream. It's a powerful visual metaphor.
The physical crown goes with the physical man, both utterly broken. Carnehan's fate, however, is even more horrifying, a testament to unimaginable human endurance.
What happens to Peachey?
They crucified him with wooden pegs for his hands and his feet. And he didn't die. He hung there and screamed.
Oh my God, crucified.
He miraculously survives this gruesome torture and is later fed in the temple, still viewed, incredibly, as more of a god than old Daniel.
Surviving that. They must have thought he was supernatural.
The mystique, even in his broken state, had not entirely vanished.
This torture is an extreme experience that pushes human endurance to its absolute limits, a testament to the Kafir's own capacity for cruelty and their unique belief system. His survival and subsequent treatment highlight the Kafir's continued, albeit altered, reverence for him, suggesting that some of the mistake, perhaps even a new kind of twisted divinity through suffering, remained.
It demonstrates the contrasting fates of the two adventurers.
And the different ways cultures react to perceived divinity, adding immense complexity and horror to the story's overall impact.
Carnehan's year-long journey home is a testament to the unimaginable psychological and physical toll he endured. He returns bent double, a ghost of his former self, begging along the roads, quite safe.
Safe because they let him go, or feared him.
Maybe both. Carrying Dravot's severed head as a present in the temple to remind him not to come again.
He carried the head all that way.
All that way. He never sells the crown from the head, despite starving, clinging to this grotesque relic.
This image is profoundly disturbing and symbolic. Carnehan, a living relic of their impossible dream, carries the physical evidence of its failure, but also, paradoxically, the physical evidence of his loyalty to his fallen king.
The crown is more than gold to him.
The unsellable crown underscores the sentimental, almost sacred value it holds for him, far beyond its material worth. It's a poignant symbol of the lasting impact of their adventure on his very being, an indelible mark of glory and trauma.
Carnehan's final appearance in the narrator's office is devastating. He is a rag-wrapped, whining cripple, presenting the dried, withered head of Daniel Dravot, with the heavy circlet of gold studded with raw turquoises still on its battered temples.
He brings the head back to the narrator.
"You be old now. The king of Kafiristan with his crown upon his head," he proclaims, a broken man clinging to a shattered glory, haunted by the past.
This brings the story full circle, profoundly impacting the narrator. The man who dismissed their initial plan as folly now witnesses its horrific culmination, the tangible, undeniable reality of their impossible journey.
He can't deny it now.
It forces him to confront not only the brutality of their ambition, but the brutal consequences, forever altering his understanding of the world and the limits of human endeavor.
Even in his broken, delusional state, Carnehan clings to the vestiges of his former life and ambition, unable to fully let go of his past glory. His final heart-wrenching words betray a mind irrevocably shattered. "I was a king once.
Still identifying as a king.
I'll go to the deputy commissioner and ask to set in the poorhouse till I get my health. No, I have urgent private affairs in the south at Marwar." He's still chasing phantoms, still bound to the ghost of his fallen king.
His final journey to the asylum, singing "The Son of Man goes forth to war, a golden crown to gain," is a haunting, almost operatic end to a truly tragic tale. It highlights the lasting psychological impact of their adventure.
The indelible mark it left on him.
And the way such extreme experiences can forever alter a person's reality, leaving them forever trapped in a glorious yet terrible past. It's a powerful lesson in how the pursuit of power, once tasted, can consume the very soul.
What an incredible, harrowing deep dive into ambition and its utterly devastating consequences. We follow Daniel Dravot and Peachey Carnehan from their loafer origins through their audacious improvisation and ruthless adaptation to their astonishing ascent as gods and kings in Kafiristan.
An unbelievable rise.
Only to witness their meticulously built empire crumble due to a single fatal choice: the violation of their own contract. They had the courage, the cunning, and even some unbelievable luck in crafting an illusion of divinity, leveraging perceived cultural connections, military skills, and sheer force of personality to achieve the impossible.
They almost pulled it off. Almost.
But ultimately, they could not escape the law they themselves established, showing how even the most brilliant plans are fragile when human nature, hubris, and cultural misunderstanding intervene. Their journey, with its extreme challenges, profound personal sacrifices, and moral compromises, truly is an unforgettable odyssey.
Indeed. This deep dive into Kipling's narrative isn't just about two adventurous men. It's a profound exploration of human aspiration, the dark side of colonial hubris, and the inevitable, often violent, clash of cultures.
It covers so much ground.
It shows us how potent a carefully constructed narrative of power can be, especially when it taps into existing beliefs, and yet how incredibly fragile that power remains when confronted with fundamental moral boundaries or deeply held cultural taboos. Their story serves as a stark warning about the psychological toll of unchecked ambition and the brutal, often ironic ways in which the world reacts to those who would impose their will upon it without true understanding.
A cautionary tale, writ large.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it raises an important question for you, our listener. In a world still driven by ambition and the desire for control, what are the contracts we make with ourselves or with others that we dare not break, lest our own carefully constructed kingdoms, whether personal or professional, come tumbling down around us?